Single mom rejected for bringing her daughter to an interview, but an incredible millionaire steps in to change everything. Sarah clutched her daughter's hand tightly as they approached Maplewood's prestigious business hub. The nerves danced in her stomach like butterflies, but in her heart, she held a fire, a fierce love for Mia that shone brighter than the intimidating glass doors ahead. The memory of every grueling hour spent juggling two jobs flashed through her mind, mopping floors at the diner by day and folding laundry through the night. Each sweat-soaked moment was for Mia, to give her a life she never had. A life filled with opportunity, not rejection. "Mama, I'm proud of you," Mia chirped, her bright eyes gleaming as they walked together. Just being near her spirited daughter filled Sarah with strength. She was about to change their lives. Her heart swelled with endless anticipation, but that hope crumbled to pieces the moment they stepped inside. A stern voice from a suited panel greeted them, cold and unforgiving. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but company policy forbids children in the interview room." Confusion washed over Sarah. "She's my daughter. Is there really no exception? I can't leave her outside alone, not in this." But her pleas were met with indifferent glances that pierced deeper than any arrow. Tears blurred Sarah's vision as the weight of humiliation crashed down upon her. She clutched Mia's little hand tighter, her dreams slipping away like sand through her fingers. They turned and walked out, shame hanging heavy in the air, a brick wall they hadn't seen coming. Yet as she stepped into the bustle of Maplewood streets, the world around her buzzed with life, children laughing, neighbors chatting, dreams blossoming and collapsing. That fire inside her roared back to life. It was her love for Mia that ignited it. "We will not be stopped," she whispered, squeezing Mia's hand. "We will fight for what's right." Not far from them, Jack, a reclusive millionaire and war veteran, watched the scene unfold. He had lived through his own mother's sacrifices, his heart tightened with empathy. What he saw in Sarah's eyes moved him deeply, a reflection of the struggle he once witnessed. Resolute, he knew he couldn't stay a silent observer. Her resilience ignited something in him, a fierce desire to challenge the outdated policies that held single parents like Sarah back. He reached out to local news outlets, determined to wave a flag for change, to shine a light on the barriers smothering hard-working families. As Sarah's story erupted into the community, she transformed from a defeated job seeker into a beacon of hope. Families rallied around her, recognizing the need for compassion and understanding in their little town, but just as her momentum began to grow, a decision loomed large over Sarah. Should she risk losing everything to do what was right? Or should she accept Jack's offer of help, even if it meant compromising her newfound integrity? Watching Mia frolic in the park, the innocence and future she fought so hard for, a storm brewed inside her. With the town's future on the line and her heart torn, Sarah faced a crossroads. Would she stand tall and brave, or trade a piece of her pride for security? The weight of her choice hung in the air, leaving the community and readers anxiously awaiting her next move. Sarah watched Mia spin in circles, her laughter ringing out like sweet music against the backdrop of Maplewood South's bustling park. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows of life and hope. With every giggle, the weight on Sarah's heart grew heavier. The community had rallied around her, but so had doubts. What if accepting Jack's help meant sacrificing her values? What would that teach Mia? With a determined breath, she took a few careful steps toward her daughter. Sarah crouched down, meeting Mia's twinkling eyes. "Are you having fun, sweetheart?" "Yep. Can we stay a little longer?" Mia asked, bouncing on the tips of her little sneakers, unaware of the storm brewing in her mother's heart. "Of course, but we need to talk after, okay?" Sarah forced a smile, hoping to mask the swirling thoughts. Just then, Jack approached, an easygoing smile playing on his lips. He exuded a warmth that drew people in, a stark contrast to the seemingly cold world of business that had already turned Sarah away. As soon as he reached them, Mia scampered over, tugging at his pant leg. "Mr. Jack. Can you play with me?" She chirped, her eyes bright with admiration. His eyes softened as he looked at the little girl, then shifted his gaze to Sarah. "I'd love to, but I think we need to have a serious chat first. Sarah stood, feeling small beneath the weight of Jack's intensity. I know you mean well, Jack. I need to think. This is a huge decision. Jack nodded, his expression respectful but insistent. I get it. But think about why you're doing this. You deserve to be heard. You deserve a chance to shine without obstacles blocking your way. As she absorbed his words, anger flickered in Sarah's chest. But at what cost? What kind of mother would I be if I take something that feels wrong? What will that teach Mia? Jack's expression shifted, a shadow crossing his face. You're not just a mother, you're a fighter. This is about breaking down barriers not just for you, but for all the other parents out there who feel powerless. Those words struck a chord within Sarah. She could feel the community rallying behind her, their support lifting her like wings. But did that mean she had to sacrifice her pride, her independence? I don't want to owe anyone anything, Sarah finally said, resolve creeping back into her voice. You don't. Jack stepped closer, lowering his voice. By accepting help, you're standing for change. You may inspire others to do the same. It's not about giving up, it's about creating a platform for voices like yours to be heard. Mia raced back from a game of tag, breathless but beaming. Can we go get ice cream now? Both adults chuckled, the innocent interruption easing some tension. Sarah knelt beside her daughter, trying to mask her turmoil. We can, but first, do you trust me to find the best way forward? Mia's smile was infectious, her sunny optimism spreading like wildfire. Always. You're my mom, and you're the best. Sarah felt her heart swell. In that moment, she realized that her love for Mia wasn't just about providing. It was also about fighting for a world where her daughter could grow up without barriers. Jack watched, his gaze shifting back to Sarah as her thoughts swirled. You just had a breakthrough, didn't you? I think I did, she whispered, running her fingers through Mia's hair, feeling the warmth of her daughter's spirit spark something deeper within herself, but just then, her phone buzzed in her pocket. A message flashed on the screen with startling urgency. The mayor was hosting a town hall meeting this week, addressing community issues, and he mentioned her story. Sarah, what is it? Jack prompted, sensing her shift in concentration, her heart thudded painfully against her ribs. I have to decide soon. If I'm speaking out, it can't just be about me. Do I have the courage to stand in front of everyone? To share our story? Jack leaned closer. If you do, think of the lives you might change, but what if keeping quiet means stifling that chance? The clock was ticking. With Mia waiting and the winds of change brewing, the moment approached. Would Sarah summon the courage to take center stage, to share her truth and ignite a movement? Could this really change everything? She whispered as doubts and possibilities entangled in her mind, leaving a profound question lingering in the air. The ice cream shop was just an old-fashioned cart parked nearby, but to Mia, it looked like a palace of delights. As they walked hand in hand, Sarah felt a knot in her stomach. Every step reminded her of the choices waiting on the table before her. The laughter of children echoed around them, mingling with the soft hum of conversation, but deep inside, her thoughts were crammed with anxiety. Mia tugged at her hand, breaking through the haze. Can I have chocolate sprinkles? Please, please. Sarah chuckled, fighting off the swirl of uncertainties. Sure, sweetheart. Let us get you the biggest scoop they have. As Mia skipped ahead, Sarah glanced back at Jack, who stood a few steps behind. What if I can't do it? She asked, the tremor in her voice betraying her confidence. What if speaking up only makes things worse? Jack approached, his energy steady and reassuring. What if it opens doors for more people like you? You can't control the outcome, but you can control your action. This is about taking a stand, Sarah. The weight of those words sank into her, mixing with her fears and hopes. Jack's eyes sparkled as he spoke, igniting something deep within her. She could tell he believed in her. I just don't want to let anyone down, she began, but Mia's laughter cut through her hesitance. Mom! Look! I can see the sprinkles. Mia squealed, bouncing on her heels as she pointed excitedly at the cart. It was hard to resist that enthusiasm. Sarah knelt, catching the pure joy radiating from her daughter. And what about you, sweetheart? Would you be proud of me if I spoke up? Mia's face lit up, cherishing the moment like candy. Of course. You're my hero. Sarah felt a warmth spread through her, wrapping around her heart. The innocent, unfiltered love of her daughter was a powerful thing. But beneath it lingered the darker currents of doubt. And what if they don't like what I say? Jack stepped closer, his tone gentle yet firm. You can't be afraid of their opinions. People can surprise you. They might rise to support you. With every word, he chipped away at her hesitation. Still, the nagging thoughts swirled. What if she stood up only to fall down? It didn't take long for Mia to get her ice cream, and soon they found a cozy spot on a nearby bench. The sun was setting now, spilling colors like melted rainbow sherbet across the sky. Sarah stole a glance at Mia, who was lost in bliss, ice cream smudged across her cheeks, with Mia's happiness all around her. A small flicker of determination ignited inside Sarah. She picked up her phone, the weight of it in her hand felt different now. It represented her choice, her power. Maybe you're right, Jack. But what if I'm not ready? She admitted, her voice trembling slightly with vulnerability. It's okay to be uncertain, Jack replied, leaning against the railing beside her. But think of the message it sends to Mia. To all the other kids watching. It's about setting an example, it's about speaking your truth. Mia looked up at Sarah, eyes sparkling. You're going to be brave, right, Mom? Just like the superheroes? The sincerity in Mia's gaze nearly knocked the wind out of Sarah. How could she deny her daughter the chance to witness her strength? Okay. Sarah took a steady breath, determination mixing with newfound resolve. I'll do it. I have to. Her heart raced, exhilaration coursing through her veins. Maybe this was what it meant to be brave, not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. Great, Jack said, pride shining in his eyes. You're going to inspire more than just Mia, you know. As they finished their ice cream, an unexpected thrill bubbled within Sarah. But beneath that excitement, fear still whispered its warnings. Was she truly ready for what was to come? The sun dipped further, shadows stretching long, casting a reminder of the night ahead. There was a stirring at the pit of her stomach, a mix of hope and dread, because this was only the beginning. Will you be there with me? She turned to Jack, vulnerability threading through her words. Always, he said, locked in a gaze that felt protective, encouraging. But even as they shared a moment of renewed optimism, Sarah felt the clouds of uncertainty creep back in. The town hall meeting loomed ahead, and an unsettling truth settled over her thoughts. Speaking her truth meant stepping into a spotlight that could very well burn fiercely. Would she break apart in front of everyone, or would this be her moment of transformation? The question stood there, raw and heavy, hanging in the air like unfinished business. And as they left the park, Sarah wondered if she was truly ready to change everything, even if it meant risking everything. The parking lot outside the town hall buzzed with activity. Cars streamed in and out, a mix of muffled voices echoed against the brick walls, and a chill breeze whispered through the air. Sarah felt a sense of apprehension settle in her chest as she stepped out of their car, Mia balled up in her bright pink jacket, oblivious to the storm outside her mother's heart. Mom, do you think they'll let you speak? Mia asked, her bright eyes scanning the entrance as they walked closer. I hope so, sweet pea. You know we won't know until we try, Sarah said, forcing a smile. The weight of her own doubts pulled at the corners of her lips, fighting her bravado. Jack walked beside them, his stride steady and his presence a calming force. He squeezed Sarah's shoulder, and the gentle gesture sent a ripple of warmth through her. You've got this, he said quietly, almost as if sensing her inner turmoil. With a deep breath, Sarah pushed through the doors of the town hall, the noise inside washing over her like waves crashing on a shore. The room was filled with community members, some chatting animatedly, while others stared at the dais with expressions of seriousness and anticipation. She could see the long table where the town council members sat, their faces serious as they prepared for the meeting. Mia grabbed her hand tighter, and Sarah felt a rush of determination. She had to do this not just for herself, but for Mia. She searched the hall for a familiar face, someone who could make this affair feel a little less daunting. She spotted a friend from the school board and waved. The woman smiled and made her way over, giving Sarah the boost she needed. "Hey, Sarah!" the woman exclaimed. "Glad to see you here. Are you going to speak?" "Yes, trying to summon all the courage I have," Sarah replied with a chuckle that felt almost foreign to her. "You'll be amazing. Just remember, your voice matters," she encouraged, placing a gentle hand on Sarah's arm. That comment sent a shiver down her spine. It wasn't just a mere reassurance, it was a reminder of everything she had to offer. The chatter in the room hushed as the council member at the head of the table cleared his throat and called the meeting to order. Sarah's heart pounded wildly as she observed the packed room. This was the moment. She felt Mia's tiny hand slip from hers as the little girl moved to sit with other children by the front. "Mom, look!" Mia shouted, waving from her seat. "I'm watching you." If only that sweet encouragement could sink deep enough to drown out the dread rising within her. Yet, as she stood there listening to the introductions and presentations, each minute felt like an hour. "Now, we would like to open the floor for public comments," the council member announced, his voice echoing through the hall. Sarah felt every pair of eyes in the room slide to her, the moment stretching before her like a tightrope. This was it. She took a step forward, heart racing. The whispers started murmurs of excitement, doubt, even skepticism. Her mouth felt dry. How was she supposed to be brave when every instinct told her to retreat? But then a soft voice broke through the noise. "Go, Mom!" Mia's cheerful shout pierced Sarah's heart, flipping a switch inside her. The words surged forth like a rush of water dam breaking. She stepped closer to the podium, each stride fueled by her daughter's unwavering love. Sarah took a deep breath. "Hello everyone, thank you for having me." Her voice trembled at first, but then gained strength as she continued. "I'm here today because I believe we can make a difference together." In that moment, the nervousness shifted. She felt empowered, as if her words were buoyed by the hope and belief radiating from Mia and Jack. The eyes watching her shifted from skepticism to intrigue. But just as she began to dive deeper into her message, an unexpected commotion erupted at the back of the room. The sound of a chair scraping abruptly caught her attention. Whispers amplified into louder gasps, and then the unfamiliar figure of a man swept through the doorway, a tall figure dressed in tailored suits. "Excuse me," he bellowed, drawing all eyes back, including Sarah's. The sudden attention pulled her away from her thoughts like a kite jerked from a breeze. Can they even do this? Her heart raced again. As the man strode forward, a powerful presence filled the room. What was happening? Her moment began to feel precarious as questions swirled in her mind. Would his entrance alter everything she wasn't yet brave enough to say? "Can I speak, too?" he demanded, locking eyes with her as he made his way to the front. The anticipation hung thick in the air, palpable and heavy. What could this stranger possibly bring to the conversation? Would he support her, or would he shatter her emerging confidence? One thing was certain, this was only getting started, and Sarah had to be ready for whatever came next. The man's presence seemed to suck the air from the room. All eyes were on him, his confident stride demanding respect. Sarah stood frozen for a moment, caught between her own voice which had just begun to rise and his booming authority. "Who is he?" whispered someone from the audience. "Is he with the council?" murmured another. The buzz of curiosity swirled like a storm around Sarah. She gripped the edges of the podium, her palms sweaty. Internal doubts began to creep in again. What if this was all a mistake? What if he outshone her and sent her courage crumbling down? But she refused to let that fear swallow her whole. "Excuse me," she called out, trying to sound assertive. "I'm speaking now." The room grew quiet, tension hanging like a heavy curtain. The man turned, eyebrows raised, as if he hadn't expected her response. There was a flicker of surprise in his eyes, which only fueled her momentum. Sarah took a deep breath. "This is a community meeting," she continued, her tone firmer. "And my voice matters just as much as anyone else's." Surprisingly, a few murmurs of agreement followed her words. The community members leaned in, seeming to rally behind her. "Do you think they can really make a change?" she thought. She could feel Mia's bright eyes on her, a steady reminder of why she was there. The man smirked, clearly amused by her response. "I'm not here to talk down to you, ma'am," he said, his voice dripping with faux politeness. "I just have something important to say that affects everyone." He took a step closer, now towering over her at the podium. "I came here to discuss a proposal that could change this town forever. It's about the development project slated for this area," he said, his hand gesturing to the blueprints he held. As everyone turned to see what he was talking about, Sarah felt a knot twist in her stomach. The project he mentioned was all anyone had been discussing, but she also knew it could push out small businesses, including her own. "What do you think about that, then?" she challenged. His smirk vanished, replaced by a glance of annoyance. "It's an opportunity. Growth comes with consequences, but we can't stop progress." "But at what cost?" Sarah shot back, leaning forward, emboldened by the crowd's murmurs around her. "We can't sacrifice our community for profit. There's more to this than just business, you know that. People depend on their homes and livelihoods." The audience let out a collective breath, some nodding in agreement. She could feel their support flowing to her. The man raised an eyebrow, surprised by her tenacity. "You really think your opinions matter against what I'm bringing?" he retorted, trying to regain control over the room. Sarah didn't back down. "You might have money on your side, but we have heart and determination. And together, we can fight to protect what's ours." Cheers erupted in the hall. The energy shifted, and Sarah felt a charge of adrenaline surge through her. They were rallying behind her. She had voiced their concerns, the fears and hopes that all of them shared. Mia's voice rang out again amidst the clapping. "Mom, that was awesome." For a moment, Sarah could see the pride gleaming in her daughter's eyes. It felt like a beacon, guiding her through the chaos. But in the thick of victory and support, Sarah caught the flicker of something in the man's gaze, a spark that hinted at underlying intentions she couldn't quite grasp. As the applause swelled, something shifted in the atmosphere. Was it fear? Was he disturbed by her courage? Annoyance flashed across his face as he shook his head and turned toward the council members. "If you think this is just about community," suddenly, the doors at the back of the hall burst open again, this time to let in a group of people wearing matching t-shirts emblazoned with slogans about community preservation. They swept in like a wave, catching everyone off guard. Sarah's heart raced. Who were they? What did they bring with them? The man glared at the newcomers, and her stomach twisted with the sudden realization, this meeting was no longer just a chance for her voice to be heard. It had morphed into something bigger, something that could explode into conflict. Was this the true battle for her community just beginning? The energy in the room shifted as the newcomers marched in, their confident strides mirroring Sarah's own rising courage. The large banners strewn across their chests demanded attention: "Save our community. Progress doesn't equal displacement." Their arrival was like a spark in dry kindling, igniting the atmosphere with palpable tension. Sarah's heart pounded. She stole a glance at Mia, whose eyes widened, sparkling with excitement and confusion. This was more than just a meeting now, it was emerging as a battleground, a place where the future of their community would be contested. "Who are they?" one of the council members murmured as he leaned in closer to his peers. The man, with brows furrowed, sneered at the newcomers, irritation radiating off him in waves. He seemed to sense a shift in the air, one he didn't intend to embrace. "Looks like reinforcements," Sarah said quietly, a smile creeping across her face. This was her chance to turn the tide. "Let us join them." She stepped away from the podium and moved toward the group, who were now fanning out, drawing the attention of the crowd. Sarah's pulse quickened. She felt the crowd rallying, they were pulling together, and she had to keep that momentum alive. "Your voices matter." She called to the newcomers, her spirit gleaming in her words. "We need to stand together and make our concerns known. This isn't just about development, this is about our lives." The leader of the new group, a tall woman with striking gray hair, stepped forward. "I'm Rebecca," she said, her voice strong and unwavering. "We've seen too many towns ruined in the name of progress. We're here to show you that the fight is far from over." Support rippled through the room. A chorus of claps and cheers erupted, invigorating Sarah even further. She glanced at Mia, who beamed with pride as she clapped along with the crowd, her little hands pumping in the air. The man shifted on his feet, the facade of confidence cracking. "You're wasting everyone's time," he shouted, trying to retrieve control over the explosive energy that surrounded them. "This is a done deal. You really think your voices matter?" "We do," Sarah shouted back, feeling the heat of the moment. "We matter. And we will not let you bulldoze our dreams and homes." Her words hung heavy in the air, a rallying cry that reverberated off the walls. A sense of unity filled the room, neighbors shouted in agreement, their faces ignited with purpose. As the dynamic shifted, Rebecca turned to Sarah. "Let us make sure they hear us loud and clear," she said with a fierce grin. "We need to take action right here and now." Sarah nodded, spellbound by Rebecca's energy. This woman was a force, and she belonged to this movement. "What's our plan?" she asked breathlessly. "Let us gather everyone and form a coalition. We'll voice our concerns and demand a comprehensive review of this project. If they think they can ignore us, they're in for a big surprise." Rebecca exclaimed, taking charge. Sarah felt a surge of adrenaline wash over her. The meeting had transformed from a mere discussion to a declaration of war against complacency. Together, they could stand tall, fight for their community, and hope for a better future. Just as they were organizing themselves, the man threw a final glare in their direction. "You'll regret this," he hissed, but Sarah was already too far gone in her exhilaration to be cowed by his threat. This was a fight worth having. As Sarah stood among her neighbors, excitement pulsing through her veins, she could feel destiny unfolding. But then, a sudden thought struck her. What if they didn't just want to preserve their community? What if they were also standing in the way of something greater? She turned back to Rebecca, eyes wide. "Do we know what's really behind this development? What else is at stake?" The anxious energy surged anew, leaving everyone breathless with uncertainty, the weight of unanswered questions now pressing down on them. What did they not know, and who could they trust to reveal the truth? As the tension in the room crackled, Sarah felt a knot in her stomach begin to twist. Yes, they were fighting for their community, but what if the project held deeper implications? She looked around at the faces of her neighbors, now animated with passion and doubt. They needed clarity to channel their energy toward a worthy cause. "Let us ask questions," Sarah proposed, her voice steady but laced with urgency. "We can't just resist without understanding what we're resisting. What if this project is tied to something we can't see?" Rebecca raised an eyebrow, impressed by Sarah's insight. "Good point. But we need to hold our ground first. Actions speak louder than questions. Let us shine a light on their plans, expose the details that are hidden from us." One of the men from the newcomers stepped forward. "I'm Ben," he announced, a determination in his eyes. "I used to work in urban development. I know how these things can go. If we can get our hands on the proposal documents, we can spot the fine print that they might be hoping we overlook. Excited murmurs rippled through the crowd. This was no longer just about opposing development, it was about gathering information, empowering themselves with knowledge. Sarah felt a surge of hope. "Let us organize a meeting with the city officials," Ben suggested. "We need to confront them directly. We demand transparency." Sarah's heart raced at the prospect. Yes, a meeting. If they could corner the officials, maybe they could shed light on what lay beneath this proposed development that had everyone on edge. Absolutely. Rebecca agreed. "We'll present a united front. The more voices we have with us, the more they'll listen." "Count me in," shouted a woman from the back. "I'll bring my friends." "We all must bring friends," Sarah added, excitement bubbling up again. "This is our community, we need everyone involved." But just as the adrenaline built, a shadow passed over Sarah. But what if they don't care? What if they already have a plan? The murmurs of doubt began to rise, chasing the hope away. "They need to care." Rebecca rebutted fiercely, shaking her head. "We won't let them ignore us. We are the heartbeat of this town, and we will not be silenced. They can't shove us aside." As the crowd rallied behind Rebecca's words, Sarah glanced at Mia, who stood beside her with wide eyes, absorbing the energy around them. This was their chance to create change. But the weight of the unknown pressed down. What dark secrets did this project hold? "Let us mobilize for the meeting next week," someone shouted, igniting a wave of agreement. "We'll bring the community together." The buzz of excitement filled the air again, but a chill clung to Sarah's spine. What if their fight exposed things they weren't prepared for? "Everyone!" Sarah called, raising her voice to gather attention once more. "What if we discover something that could change everything we believe about this project? Are we ready for that?" Silence enveloped the room, punctuated only by soft murmurs. The tantalizing allure of action mingled with a deep-seated fear of the unknown. Sarah's heart raced, uncertainty swirling around her. Was this fight worth the risks? Could they confront the truth that might ultimately threaten everything they thought they knew? In that moment, they all stood at a crossroads. Their neighborhood was at stake, but so was their faith in what they believed to be right. As they prepared to message friends, rally neighbors, and face their fears, Sarah knew they were stepping into uncharted territory. With each passing moment, the stakes rose higher. Little did they know, the revelation ahead would shake the very foundations of their fight for justice and shine a light on a truth they never saw coming. What awaited them beyond the doors of the council meeting? The following week rolled in with a mix of anticipation and dread. Sarah woke up that morning with the weight of the meeting looming overhead. The sun streamed through her window, painting warm light across her cluttered kitchen table, but it felt more like a spotlight on a looming test. She found herself staring at a half-forgotten to-do list, her pen hovering in uncertainty. What if they found nothing? What if they overstepped and faced backlash instead of support? Yet, there was an undeniable force pushing her forward. The thought of her daughter, Mia, playing in the park, carefree and oblivious to the stakes at hand, made her resolve steady. At the community center, the crowd was buzzing with energy. Villagers began filling the hall, voices mingling with laughter, but Sarah kept her focus tight. Each face told a story of determination, and she felt the weight of their shared hope. This wasn't just about a project, it was about their lives. "Okay, everyone. Let us settle down," Rebecca called, her voice cutting through the noise like a beacon. "We've got a lot to prepare for before facing the city officials." Sarah stood among her neighbors, heart racing as she noted the fierce determination in their eyes. They divided into small groups, outlining their plan of attack. With each strategy discussed, Sarah felt a mix of excitement and fear. Their voices rang with urgency, they wanted answers, they wanted assurance. As they worked through their points, Ben stood at the front, scanning the room. "We need to focus on one main question. What is the long-term vision for our neighborhood? He paused, letting the words sink in. If we can frame our concerns clearly, they won't be able to dismiss us. Heads nodded. Let us also prepare for pushback, Sarah added, her voice trembling slightly. What if they respond defensively? We need to stay calm. We know our community's worth. We've got to show them we're not just a group of angry residents. We're the backbone of this town. The air was charged, palpable with collective hope. But just as excitement built, the door creaked open, and a figure stepped inside the city planner. He looked around, eyes cold, scanning the room as if he could sense the tension radiating from the gathered crowd. A hush fell over the audience. What did he want here? Sarah's heart dropped. Sarah, he said, his tone casual but carrying an undercurrent of authority. You and your little group have made quite a stir. I hope you understand that the city has plans in place. His words felt like a challenge, testing the resolve they had all mustered. We do know, Sarah shot back, mustering all her courage. And we want to discuss those plans with you. Isn't that why we're meeting? For clarity. His gaze narrowed, smug and confident, as if they were just pawns in a game. Clarity isn't always what it seems. Be careful what you wish for. The crowd gasped collectively, and Sarah's stomach twisted again. That cold veil of unease hung over them, like a storm brewing on the horizon. Did he truly intend to bulldoze through their concerns? As the shaky foundation of their plan began to falter, her heart pounded. She looked to Rebecca and Ben for reassurance, but their worried faces reflected her own doubt. What if they were walking into a trap? Did they truly know what they were fighting for, or were they just challenging shadows? As the meeting flowed into an uncertain future, Sarah breathed deeply, determined not to crumble under the weight of their opposition. She had to believe that even the most daunting storms could yield hope. Unknown to them, the city planner had secrets of his own. What was he hiding? Would Sarah and her neighbors uncover the truth, or would they tumble into deeper darkness? With every heartbeat, the stakes climbed higher. The answer lay just beyond the surface, and only time would tell if they possessed the courage to face it. Sarah's heart raced as she prepared to hear the detailed plans that the city officials had in store for their community. The atmosphere felt electric, everyone was on edge, their eyes darting between the planner and each other. It was like standing on the precipice of a cliff, unsure whether to jump or retreat. The planner cleared his throat, cutting through the tension. We've got several projects lined up for your neighborhood. Unfortunately, some of them will require clearing a bit of space. His flat tone suggested he was used to this reaction, but the crowd was anything but quiet. What space? A voice erupted from the back of the room. It was Linda, a mother of 3 who had lived in the neighborhood longer than most. You can't just come in here and tell us what we're losing without talking to us first. Exactly. Ben chimed in, anger lacing his voice as he stepped forward. This is our home. You have to understand our concerns. What will happen to our families? The planner's expression grew stony. I understand your emotions, but the city needs to improve. Some sacrifices are necessary. His dismissive tone made it clear he was far from sympathetic to their plight. Sarah fought to keep her voice steady as she spoke up. We're not against progress, but we need transparency and consideration. What will you do to ensure our community isn't erased in the name of improvement? The planner flicked his gaze away for a moment, as if weighing her words. Then, with a hint of disdain, he answered, you can expect limited information leading up to the decisions. The city believes it best to take action swiftly rather than allowing the community to complicate progress. Gasps filled the room, and Sarah felt her stomach drop. It felt as though the walls were closing in on them, trapping their voices, stifling their fight. In a flash, she realized it wasn't just about the land or the buildings. They were battling for everything that made their lives worth living, the memories, the laughter, the shared experiences that shaped their neighborhood. As if sensing the loss of momentum, Rebecca rose, her voice cutting through the cloud of despair. What if we were to organize a community forum? Bring in not just residents but the businesses that would be affected, allow everyone a voice. There was a ripple of agreement, the spark of hope reigniting. Sarah felt a warmth spreading in her chest. Yes. We can show them our strength. Our future deserves a say. But the planner just scoffed, shaking his head dismissively. You can request all you want, but understand, the city will proceed as deemed necessary. You're not equipped to alter those plans. Anger flared among the residents, their murmurs growing louder. You underestimate us. Someone shouted. As the crowd began to rise, fueled by rage and camaraderie, Sarah took a step back and looked around her. Each face was fierce, but uncertainty lingered beneath the surface. She wondered, would their collective voices resonate enough to make a change? The planner took a breath, visibly scanning the room. Remember what I said about clarity, he warned, his tone chilling. You don't know the full picture. Find out who you're dealing with before it's too late. Dread crawled up Sarah's spine. What did that mean? What was he hinting at? As the murmurs subsided and the reality of the meeting settled in, she sensed an unknown threat hanging just out of sight. As they wrapped up, the city planner turned to leave, casting one last sweeping glance at them. Good luck. His tone dripped with sarcasm, and with that, he disappeared through the door, leaving them in stunned silence. Sarah felt the weight of uncertainty sink in again. Their courage had been ignited, but how would they keep the flame alive? What forces were at play, and what dangers lurked behind the city's plans? With the meeting over, they needed to act fast. She turned to her neighbors, determination narrowing her focus. We need to investigate. See what he didn't want us to know. She felt the fire of resolve ignite anew. But as they exchanged determined glances, a chilling thought lingered at the back of her mind. Were they leading themselves into a war they weren't prepared to fight, and what if they were? The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm glow over Maplewood. As Sarah stood alongside her neighbors, they formed a bright tapestry of solidarity. That feeling of determination pulsed in the air, each heartbeat a promise to fight for their community. But mixed with that hope was an undercurrent of anxiety. What had the city planner hinted at? What darkness lay beneath their well-kept town? Tonight's the night, Sarah whispered to Rebecca as they gathered their thoughts. Rebecca nodded, her gray hair catching the light. We need to stay focused. We'll break down their plans and uncover their secrets together. The evening meeting was filled with community members, all eager to strive for change. They took seats in the community center, anticipation electrifying the room. The hum of voices filled the air, a comforting backdrop to Sarah's thoughts. With every moment, the heaviness in her chest began to lift. Mia, blissfully unaware, positioned herself among the other kids, her laugh chiming like a melody in Sarah's heart. Look at her, Sarah thought, her heart swelling with pride. This is for her. This is for all our children. As the meeting commenced, Sarah found herself sharing her story, recounting the struggles she faced as a working mother fighting for respect and dignity. Her voice gained confidence as she spoke, ignited by the flicker of hope around her. She was a soldier, charging against injustice with every word. We cannot let our hearts be stifled by greed. This town is our home. Cheers erupted, echoes of agreement thundering through the room. The energy was infectious. Let us use our voices to unite. Ben cried out. We'll create a community coalition to demand transparency from the city. We need to know every detail of what they're planning. Nods of agreement followed, and Sarah felt her pulse quicken. This was more than just about business. This was a movement. A chorus of voices joined in unison. As the meeting progressed, Sarah and others jumped in to discuss plans for how to gather more support, to distribute flyers inviting more residents to the next gathering. It was a whirlwind of collaboration that drew smiles and grateful hugs. Together, they could become the force that turned the tide. Each heart was radiating with power. They planned rallies, organized meetings with local businesses, and sought help from newspapers to shine the spotlight on their cause. Sarah documented their progress, her fingers gliding across her phone as she captured the essence of their fight. It was exhilarating, and behind her, she could see Mia giggling and enjoying time with her friends, but as excitement surged, the image of the city planner lingered in Sarah's mind. What did he know? What would happen when they began to delve deeper? Had they stirred a hornet's nest, determined to uncover the truth? Sarah asked Ben if he could reach out to contacts in urban development. If we can discover their intentions, we might hold the key to protecting our home, she said, her voice fervent. In the days that followed, the community rallied behind them. As reports surfaced of other towns impacted by similar projects, the sense of urgency grew tenfold. They were on the brink of something monumental. Change was within their grasp. But would they find the courage to seize it? As the deadline for the city's decision approached, excitement mixed with anxiety like a storm brewing on the horizon. Sarah stood in her kitchen one evening, staring at the clutter as Mia busied herself with crayons. In that moment, Sarah picked up her pen and wrote a heartfelt letter to the city council, echoing her community's cries, "We will not be silenced. We will not watch from the sidelines while our homes are ripped apart." Weeks passed, filled with meetings, outreach, and the unstoppable voices of unity. Then came the day of reckoning. The town hall was buzzing, a palpable tension wrapping its arms around them. Sarah arrived alongside her neighbors, hand in hand with Mia, who wore a brave smile, radiating innocence. As the mayor opened the floor to community comment, Sarah felt the weight of eyes upon her. She stepped forward, heart pounding in her chest. This was her moment, the moment they had all fought for. "Good evening. I'm here representing the voices of Maplewood, the voices of families, of children, of dreams." Each word flowed from her as if buoyed by the hope echoing in the room. "We demand transparency on the development plans, and we call for respect for our homes." Cheers erupted, and encouragement filled the air, but the city council sat stoic and silent. The chant of "Save our homes. Save our community" rang out, echoing Sarah's innate courage, a wave of passion that could not be extinguished. Then, as silence hung tightly in the air, the city planner approached the podium. "You think this is just about you? This is about progress," he attempted to counter, but Sarah cut him off. "This is about people. This is about us. And it's about time someone listened." The power behind her words forged a connection that rippled through the room, gathered as a community, energized by the voices of mothers, fathers, children, all fighting for a future. The tide finally shifted. Sarah saw support blossom, uniting them in a movement larger than any one person. The crowd erupted in applause, a surge of hope that washed away the veils of doubt. "This is just the beginning," someone shouted, and in her heart, Sarah knew it was true. Change was not just possible, it was inevitable. With unwavering love for Mia and their community, they would continue to spread these urgent seeds of activism far and wide. As the echoes of their rally faded, Sarah stood tall in the sea of determined faces, feeling the warmth of camaraderie surround her. They were in this together, hand in hand, heart to heart. And in that moment, she realized that sometimes, to light the path forward, you must first face the shadows together. Maplewood would not just withstand change. They would become the change. In the days that followed, the impact of their movement rippled through the town, creating room for dialogue, understanding, and hope for the future. They would face the coming weeks with strength and a fierce love for what defined them: family, community, and resilience. This was the change they had fought for. This was the legacy they would leave for Mia and all the children of Maplewood. Subscribe immediately to our channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.